But we are going to segue still into the topic of COVID-19 and with folks from the Black Coalition Against COVID. And so it's my pleasure to bring on Ambrose Lane and Reverend Frank Tucker, both who are, Ambrose is the founder of the Health Alliance Network, AKA the Ward 7 Health Alliance Network, and DC Community Health Advocacy Group that advocates for residents of poor and low-income communities in Wards 5, 7, and 8. Ambrose, I could go on, but because your bio is extremely long and your work speaks for itself with regards to all that you've been doing in the area of healthcare. I mean, you're a true soldier in this war about bringing about healthy communities. So I'm so glad to have you with us. And Reverend Tucker, wow, I mean, you're if it weren't for if it weren't for the Lord, where would we be? And thank you for being one of his soldiers in this war against this pandemic and just trying to keep communities healthy. You've been involved from the faith community for many years, and I've just enjoyed and appreciate the work that both of you all do. So welcome to WIN TV.
Welcome, and thank you for having us.
Sure, sure. So Ambrose, I'm going to start with you because you're one of the co-founders of the Black Coalition Against COVID, and we've had Dr. Reed Tuckson on the show, but we haven't had him on in a while. We've been running the letter to Black America on every one of our segments, and that letter really talks about this vaccine that John Falchicchio just said we need to make sure our residents participate in. And you're very, focused on that as well. You asked Dr. Fauci some very tough questions on Wednesday night. So let's talk about that conversation.
Well, it was an important opportunity, to be honest with you. Dr. Fauci has never had before a conversation with the Black community on COVID-19 and the coronavirus and all of the things surrounding vaccine trials and vaccinations once the vaccinations become available. Let me first thank you, Denise, for having me. And let me also say hello to my good friend and colleague, Reverend Tucker. Reverend Tucker is also a co-founding member of the Black Coalition Against COVID as well, and on the steering committee. So thank you for having me. And so, yes, this is a tough conversation. And when I spoke and interviewed Dr. Fauci, I started by saying that a recent Pew poll, and that's backed by some other polls, suggests that Black people, about half of Black people will take the vaccine once it's available, and about half will not take the vaccine once it's available. And we talked about the issue of trust. And the issue of trust runs very deep. It is not simply about what we've heard of in the past, such as the Tuskegee syphilis experiment on Black men, or Henrietta Lacks, or whether or not many of the medical things that have been done in the name of medicine, but against Black people and against Black people's interests. But it runs deeper than that. It comes from slavery to Jim Crow. It comes from the targeting of Black leaders in the 60s. It comes from police brutality all the way up until Black Lives Matter right now. And so there's a very valid reason for Black people to not trust the state, not trust the government in terms of a vaccine. At the same time, we have had much progress in the United States. Some can say not enough, and I would agree with that. But we've had some progress. It's not just in arts, entertainment, and sports, but we've had African Americans involved in science, business, technology. And in fact, Dr. Fauci talked about how 2 African Americans at the National Institutes of Health have helped develop the vaccine. And so there are African Americans in science all across this country that are involved in many different things. There are African Americans with some of the pharmaceutical companies. And so our partnership with the 4 medical colleges, Howard University, Morehouse College, Meharry, and Drew, we engage them to serve as a buffer and to serve as a point of truth for Black people. We trust those institutions. We've always trusted those institutions, and they will serve as the gatekeepers, so to speak, so that if there's anything nefarious that even is talked about, they will be able to vet it and they will be able to point us in the right direction. And so,
Speaking of trust, Ambrose, I want to interrupt you because I want to get Dr. Tucker in here really quickly, because the faith community is one that is a trusted community. And Dr. Tucker, how are is the community, the faith community, getting the message out, or what is the message about a vaccine as it relates to Black Americans?
We are really engaging in this whole issue of addressing the issue of the vaccine, but we are doing it somewhat cautiously and carefully. And it's one of the wonderful things that for us to have a connection with the Black Coalition against the COVID, because we have some of the best minds and educators and scholars involved in the coalition. And so we focus on getting the best information that we're able to then share with those persons that we love and who support us and who trust us. We want to make sure that we are providing the best information for them. So in that context, we are glad to have that relationship, and then we can be more sure in taking advantage of the idea that we don't want to be left behind in taking something that is really good for us to protect us. We are certainly leading the line in terms of the disparities and in terms of the challenges for in the area of death. And we need to be on the front line for any cure or any vaccine that's coming along. And we don't want to let the old experiences rob us of some new opportunities that's before us. And so we got to walk the line and maintain a posture and way of communicating with the community so that they will maintain that trust and respect for what we are saying. And so we're working at that. And I think it's taken place in a wonderful way. The coalition, in its relationship with the universities, the Black universities and all, is helpful in making that happen. And surely the town hall meeting that we've had recently, the bringing people in that's knowledgeable, that we can see them, that we can be familiar with, that they can talk our language, talk with us, and we can ask the relevant questions. All of this is a part of what we are doing in connection with making sure that people themselves are informed, and then they can make better judgments and make better decisions about what they want to do. We want to take advantage of it.
So, I mean, that's one of the things, Ambrose and Reverend Tucker. We're on Facebook. The show goes all over the place, but right now we're talking about, the DMV. And we know that when it comes to the Black community, the coalition, the faith community, and you just said it earlier, Ambrose, about trusted messengers, trusted voices. So, there may be folks that will be getting vaccines before this month is out here in the United States. And the mayor, we talked about, their programs that's coming up pretty soon after the first of the year. Mm-hmm. How would you, I mean, at one point, some people say, well, if this person takes it, then I'll take it. Or, 6 months after this person has had it, then I'll take it, or I won't take it. I mean, what is that defining moment before someone gets sick and dies? What is that defining moment that you would recommend that people look towards to make that decision as to whether they'll take the vaccine or not?
Well, first of all, this is an uphill climb. And I'm just going to say point blank, it's an uphill climb because of the level of skepticism that we have for government because of what I mentioned about what has happened in the past. And so part of making this decision, I think it is important for Black people to see other Black people either taking the vaccine or participating in vaccine trials. I know that I was on a call with the Anacostia Coordinating Council, and I revealed that Howard University is getting ready to start a vaccine trial. And when they do start it, that I will apply to participate in the vaccine trial. One thing that I wanted to note, though, in the conversation with Dr. Fauci, he revealed that DC initially will only get 8,000 doses. And that was very concerning. Now, we know that the federal government under Donald Trump has really botched the dissemination of vaccines, but for DC to only get 8,000, and you're taking 2 doses, so that really means that they can only inoculate 4,000 people in the initial run, and that's concerning because we have so many people that have coronavirus. We have those that, of course, die from coronavirus, and we are certainly going to need more than that. But I do think that it's the example that Black leaders and others take that will signal to our community that it is safe to be able to take. You cannot catch coronavirus from taking the vaccine. So that's misinformation. In addition to that, the only side effects that are known right now is maybe some redness or soreness or a little bit of swelling when you take a shot, but you get that when you take the flu shot. So there are several bits of misinformation that is out there, and that's part of what we are trying to do at the Black Coalition Against COVID.
And one of the questions that I don't know the answer to, when you say that there's the initial vaccine and then the follow-up, hey there, little person behind you, is that, and that's the second one, when you take the second vaccine, how long after the first do you have to come back to take the second?
My understanding is that it's 3 weeks after.
Dr. Tucker, we're kind of running up on the end of this segment, but is there anything that you would share, particularly with faith leaders? I know that you've been out there. You have been talking about AIDS. You've been talking about HIV. The virus and all kinds of, as you said, other health issues that impact our community. We're not getting healthier. So what is it that you would advise leaders in the faith community to do right now, the message that you would ask them to convey to their congregations with regards to not only, specifically this virus, but also just improving the quality of health, which is a personal decision?
Yeah, it is important that they become informed. It's important that the clergy leaders, based upon the information that they have and being informed and be confident themselves that they should participate and lead the way. You can't get people to follow you well if you're not really leading, if you're not stepping out there and taking the step. And so I'm encouraging them to be informed so that you can be responsible. We don't want our people to die. This is a killer. This thing kills, and it's disproportionate in our community. And so it's necessary for us to do a special job in doing that. The Black Coalition assisted the Leadership Council for Health and Community to develop a program called Virtual Health Ministries. And in those ministries, we particularly seek to educate our members directly, providing information, providing data, making sure that they are up to date on the progress that is being made. Not only that, we assist them in having access to the various social services and medical services and mental health services that will help them during this period. Let them know that we are concerned about them beyond just the virus itself, but it's all connected, and we need to do what we can to assist them, work with them, educate them, and in the process, they'll know that there is a caring mind, heart, and spirit and community to address the problem.
And let me
Thank you, Dr. Tucker. Yeah, Ambrose, because we got like 30 seconds.
So Virtual Health Ministries is a fantastic program that Reverend Tucker described. We also, one of the things that we also have to do, the coronavirus exposed what we've always known in the Black community as the negligence or the lack of funding for programs that will enhance our health. We now have to say, as Black people, never again. We now have to put the resources in place, and that's across the spectrum of social determinants, to make sure that we are never as a community in this situation again. And we call upon our leaders, we call upon our elected officials, we call upon our community leaders to ensure that we get the resources to make sure that this kind of situation never happens again.
I want to thank both of you all for being with us and such strong messages and advice on how we move forward on this. We're going to have you back, especially when we bring back folks from the local government health communities to talk about when this virus rolls out. So thank you so much. Stay strong. I want to make sure that we put information up for the Black Coalition Against COVID. Sherry will put that up. And Ambrose, how can folks reach out to your organization? I know you all have monthly meeting or weekly meetings. Is it monthly or weekly?
We have monthly meetings, and we're actually going to have a special meeting on the bill that just passed about the 11-year-olds and taking vaccines. But you can contact me at ambrose@healthalliancenetwork.net. Or you can go to the Health Alliance Network Facebook page, either one. But, you know, I welcome it. If you go to my Facebook page, you can get my number. If you go to the Health Alliance Network Facebook page, you can get my number as well.
All right. Thank you so much. And gosh, I'm glad you mentioned that 11. That's a whole nother conversation, which we did an editorial on. And there's still a chance maybe to what I think was not a thoughtful decision by members of the DC City Council. So I'm with you on that. And we need to come back and have that conversation as well. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Have a wonderful and safe holiday. And hopefully I'll see you soon.
Thank you. Have a great holiday.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Where did you come to get